Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Glad you went on there.
She was there.
Hello, Andy. I think you may have your mute on, but we just want to make sure you can hear us in Reno.
Sorry. I forgot about that.
That's quite all right. We just wanted to make sure it was working out. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
No worries. Thank you, Lori.
Sure you want to know?
This is more risk than you know.
We figured anything, no buckshot. Are we waiting for that?
Well, we can take it
My daughter's coming in. She wants to go to the Avalanche game Monday night because she works for them. So she'll work Saturday at the game, which is usually here. Then she's going to fly in Sunday. I'll take her instead of my wife to the game.
Great.
So it should be fun.
We're shooting for 11:30. No. 11.
Nothing.
That's a good thing.
I did.
Just working.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yes, I am. A little bit.
Good morning, everyone. This is the meeting of the Nevada State Board of Dental Examiners of Friday, March 23rd, 2018, for a board meeting and a workshop according to the public agenda which was posted. The first order of business is call to order, so maybe please have a roll call.
Yes. Dr. Pinther?
Present.
Dr. Blasco?
Present.
Dr. Champagne?
Here.
Dr. Pisani?
Here.
Dr. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. Shahrastani?
Here.
Dr. Sanders?
Here.
Miss Gabriel?
Here.
Miss Pate? Okay. Miss Bethia?
Here.
And Miss Harris?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we are now on agenda item number 2, public comment, which is limited to 3 minutes per individual. If there's anybody, are there any public members in attendance up north?
Yes.
Would they please come to the microphone and identify themselves?
Yeah, this is Brian Reeder on behalf of the Nevada Dental Association.
Karen Soley, registered dental hygienist, Nevada Dental Hygienists Association.
Is that it, Tim?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you. And would the public members here please identify themselves?
Corey Pickens, Academy of Dental and Medical Anesthesia CEO.
Irwin Washington, ADMA COO.
Dr. Antonina Capuro, State Dental Health Officer, Division of Public and Behavioral Health.
Dr. Robert Talley, Executive Director, Nevada Dental Association.
Tina Sue, LBDA.
Christina Navarro, LDVA.
Josephine Devlin, LBDA.
Dr. Marit Mohammadi, LBDA. Terry Chandler, Future Smiles.
David Moore, patient.
All right, thank you. So we will open the meeting up to public comment, again, which is limited to 3 minutes.
Hello,
My name is Christina Navarro. I've been asked to read for the record the cover page of Attorney Jenny Foley's document to Governor Sandoval. I want to assure everyone here that this document does not contain any confidential information about the investigation into the private dental practices of DSO Dr. Stephen Sill and Board President Dr. Byron Blasco. Dear Governor Sandoval, my office represents the Las Vegas Dental Association, hereinafter the Nsbde, and its growing new membership. We believe that it is important for you to know what is happening at the Nevada Board of Dental Examiners. Recently, it came to LVDA's attention that allegations of malpractice and/or fraud are pending against Dental Board Examiner Dr. Stephen Sill and Nevada Board of Dental Examiners President Dr. Byron Blasco.
Those complaints right now are confidential because they're under investigation.
I would like to
So if
suggest
you
that the Attorney General attorney and the board's attorney take a look at this document to satisfy themselves that there is no confidential information in this document that this board cannot hear and allow me to continue.
You've identified
You've identified
You've identified
Yeah.
people, and that is confidential. The fact of a complaint pending against an individual is
It's confidential.
confidential.
Okay, so we'll just submit Attorney Jenny Foley's
So
letter
you've
into the
you've
record.
relinquished your time?
I didn't say that.
No, but she started.
We're together, yes.
No, you're not together.
together. Individual.
So you're done?
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Sue, you're on.
And what is your name again, I'm sorry?
Christina Navarro.
Okay. And you're a dentist?
No,
Are you a hygienist?
no.
Are you a dental assistant?
I am front reception. Yes.
So that would be a no for the record.
Okay, so my name is Tina Sue, and I'm a concerned Nevada citizen.
And,
I
and your
would like-
your name's Tina Sue Ruiz, I believe?
Tina Sue. And I would like Attorney Foley's letter entered into the record. And here is it for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you plan on, are you speaking?
But I think it's relevant to this one, doesn't matter.
Anyone else with public comment this time?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is David Harold Moore, and I've been suffering from extreme dental pain for over a decade, and I ask that my statement, affidavit, and exhibits be put on record. First, I was introduced to the dental board by Dr. Hendrickson, who tortured me for years while trying to extort
Mr.
me for
Moore?
$50,000.
Mr. Moore,
Then
again.
Hendrickson told me that he was best friends with the president of the board, Dr. Blasco, and that the dental board would take care of all my problems.
Okay.
I then contacted
Mr.
David
Moore, we're
Kugel,
done with you. Thank
and
you.
she informed me that Dr. Hendrickson was loving. Please note that I have attempted to communicate with Deborah Kugel regularly over the last several
Mr.
years,
Moore, if you do
but
not
she refused to
stop,
turn the courtesy.
we will have to remove you.
Excuse me?
If you do not stop and listen, we will have to.
I have a
remove you.
statement that I have to read. I have 3 minutes to read that
understand.
statement.
I understand, but just because you have 3 minutes doesn't mean you can say anything that you want. There are some issues
It's
of
all backed up by
confidentiality.
facts. It's all backed up by
It
facts.
doesn't matter.
All
It
these
doesn't
dentists were
matter.
remanded by the dental board.
Thank you.
Exactly.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
which
So
means
it's another-
absolutely nothing,
so
which
it's
means they
another-
were not guilty, okay?
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Right.
If you want the
Dr. Bryce
exhibits-
and I attended his office, he abandons me,
Excuse me, Mr.
refers
Moore,
me
you
to
have to-
UNLV.
Mr. Moore, if you do
Deborah
not
Kugel
stop,
tells me
you
to
will
not
be
tell future
removed.
dentists about my dental
You're
history.
disrupting, Mr.
She even
Moore,
told
I'm
me to
telling you
leave
right
the
now,
state of
you are disrupting
Nevada
a public
to go
meeting.
see a
Mr.
dentist
Moore,
at
you're
Loma
disrupting
Linda
a public
University
meeting.
because all the dentists were teaming up on me.
I never said that.
Bullshit, I have it in
never
writing.
said it.
Excuse
I have it in an email.
Mr. Moore,
These are the exhibits. This is all true.
No.
Oh,
No.
bullshit.
No.
Let me tell you something. This is the most fraudulent system in the
We're
world.
going to move
There
to
is
recess.
nothing going on here
Any opposed?
except a bunch of fraud and corruption
Recess
by
in the
that
meeting.
man right there. And you two, both you two need to be gone.
Excuse me.
This is bullshit. You get paid 150 grand a year for what?
I don't get paid 150 grand
Yeah,
a year.
right.
So your facts are wrong again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Again? Again? Here's the evidence.
Sir, were you
The
removed from dental
evidence.
practice by police officers?
Oh, you worthless bitch.
I would like a copy of that film.
I don't have to give a copy to anybody.
Well, you're filming a public thing.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
entitled
so
to.
I don't have to, yeah, I don't have
Oh,
to get
okay.
on it. I'm sure you like it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You wanna would you like to throw me out too? Ma'am, I'd love that.
I didn't throw anybody out.
Go ahead, try it.
No. You're able to record a public meeting. That's not a public meeting, sir. Come on.
This is not.
This is not a public meeting right here in the hall.
All we could say was this group is not part of us. That's what we can say. That's about it.
Question, so it's not public record that there's a complaint against Dr. Stephen Still and President Dr. Byron Blasco?
No, it's not public record at this.
It's not.
At this time, it is not public record.
Okay. Okay.
And per statute, it's not public record. It's not the dental board saying it's not public. It's per the law.
College? We've known each other a little bit long, huh? Yeah. Wow. I will be licensed 20 years this year. Wow. Remember when you came over for pizza? Yeah. I remember. I tell everybody that. I tell they like, oh, what? I go, oh, well, one day I went over and I went to Terry's house and she had pizza and they welcomed me. Pizza and wine. And we laid on the bed. You had the memory bed. Yeah. And you made everybody go lay on it. That's right. Oh my God, good memory, girl. Yeah, those are good memories. Those are like good memories. I love your hair. Thank you. You're doing the great thing. Oh yeah, I don't have time to sit underneath the dryer, and they're like, oh, we should color it. And how much longer will that be? An hour and a half? No, I'm good. So what's this for? Because I saw this on the agenda. So we provide school-based services? No, I know Future Smiles because I was doing it because one time you told me to get my public endorsement. Right, but then something happened. And then 50 states, we serve 50 schools. And oh, wow. I have a hygienist on set and builders working with me in Nevada. You ready? Let's go. And I saw you on RDH, right? Okay. All right. All right. Very well, thank you.
So you're going to read her to public comment?
Of course.
Just making sure.
You guys okay up north?
Welcome to Nevada.
Of course you are.
Yeah, we're doing great up here.
Yeah. All right, we'd like to resume the meeting, and we are on agenda item number 2 under public comment. Is there anybody else that would like to try?
Let me just say a couple things. First of all, Dr. Robert Talley, Executive Director, Nevada Dental Association. I want it to be on record that this group that just disrupted this meeting is not in any way part of either the American Dental Association, the Nevada Dental Association, or any of the components of our society and our association. And that was absolutely disrespectful to the profession. And I want that on the record.
We appreciate that,
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr. Talley. Anybody else with public comment?
I'm Terry Chair, Future Smiles. I just want to echo what Dr. Talley said. We have a lot of respect for the work that
time, the due diligence that this board puts into representing the citizens of Nevada. So thank you for what you all do.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you. Any further public comment in the south? Anybody in the north? All right, let's move on to the public workshop, which is agenda item number 3. Notice of public workshop, request for comments and small business impact statements and review of Nevada Administrative Code, which is NAC 631, related to the practice of dentistry and proposed regulation changes and or amendments pertaining to the following. Unprofessional conduct, NAC 631.230, complaints against licensees, NAC 631.240, and investigation of the board, NAC 631.250.
Okay, so the board is elected to amend or change the regulations that currently exist. The first one begins with unprofessional conduct, which is NAC 631.230. The reason we wanted to amend this regulation is to use the language that was in AB 474 regarding controlled substances, and when issued, we want to make sure that it says issue, use, or possess, because that's the terminology that was used in AB 474. So we wanted to clarify that in the reg. So I'm assuming you want to take it's easier if we take them individually.
Yes, please.
So if it is it's section 1, subsection D that would have the change, and you should have that language in front of you. And if you're agreeable to that change, then you can do so by motion.
So just for the record, it states the acquisition, issuance, use or possession of any controlled substances from any pharmacy or other sources by misrepresentation, fraud, deception, or subterfuge. Do we have a motion to approve the change? To be consistent with other...
We're going further. That's for that one. So then you want to turn to, I think it's the third page in.
Yep.
We would be changing the letter U. We're actually taking out pursuant to chapter 453 of NRS and the annual, to conduct an annual minimum of 1 self-query, because okay, so although our regulation requires you when you renew to do it once a year, the pharmacy board requires you to do it every 6 months. So as long as you're doing it in compliance with them, with the pharmacy board every 6 months, then you'll be conducting yours that's required through us annually. So self-queries are to be done every 6 months when you're prescribing controlled substances. You're supposed to be conducting a self-query. So this is clarifying that.
And this also includes the patient queries that are required by AB 474. So we've amended it to include the AB 474 language as to the queries as well.
And that's what the letter V is, new language. So U is just an amendment to that subsection. And then V is all new language. And all of this language is pursuant to AB 474. Just so that the regulation's clear.
So just going through the pharmacy board, not going through, can you just clarify?
So originally, back in 2013, before the pharmacy board required licensees to do self-queries, we had already done our own regulation that when you renew, you have to show that you queried yourself through the PMP one time annually during within your renewal period. Then in 2015, the legislature enacted that through the pharmacy board, you're required to query yourself every 6 months. So as long as you're complying with the pharmacy, you're automatically in compliance with us.
That's my question. So there's nothing there. I would not have to do both for
now
board and pharmacy.
Right.
Our board and
Right.
pharmacy.
Right. So on ours, when you renew, you have to input 2 dates. So you have to show that you're.
But you'll have done 4.
But you would have done 4.
And just for public knowledge, or for knowledge, I believe the pharmacy board changes your password every 90 days.
Yeah.
And so you have to log in every 90 days to either update your password. So you've gone from doing it. So now you gotta enter it 4 times a year. So whether you print something or not, is immaterial, but you have to kind of be up on that to kind of get your password back is a little arduous.
Correct. And then in 2015, through the pharmacy board, through that same legislation, you had to query patients that come in for prescriptions for controlled substances, new patients. And if you're prescribing within 7 days. Now, AB 474 was just enacted in this last. Now there's a whole protocol you have to follow when you're prescribing, which includes
To any patient.
right, an initial prescription. You have to do a PMP, you have to have a bona fide relationship, you have to do a patient risk assessment, you have to have an informed consent, a diagnosis and treatment plan for each patient.
And that's basically what that's what V implements into our regs. AB 474 required us to implement regs to pursue AB 474, and so that's what we've done here in section B.
So if you review the language in U and V, and if you're comfortable with the language, you could approve it, or if you want to modify the language, or... But it just
Mr.
basically spells
President?
it.
Yes, sir.
This is Pisani. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the proposed changes for NAC 631.230.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second, Sanders.
We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding this section? And we're only dealing with NAC 631.230. Is that correct, Dr. Pisani?
That is correct.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor of accepting the changes as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, NAC 631.240.
Correct. So this is NAC, this is regarding complaints against licensees. So the original one you have in your book, we've revised it to add additional. So that should have been sent to you. It's also on our website, and
We've also got copies.
And we also have copies here. Do you, Dr. Pinther and the dentist and the board members up north, did you receive that revised language?
Yes, we've got it.
Okay. Okay, so NAC 631.240 is the regulation regarding complaints against licensees, and I'll let Melanie explain the amendments to this regulation.
So in section 1, we are amending this to include one thing and change one other. The first part on subsection B has always said that a complaint by a patient needs to be signed and verified. We're just amending this to state clearly that the verification has to be on our form, as opposed to I'm just going to go out and get it notarized. So that's the first change. The second change, we want to take out specific charges in subsection C and change that to complainant's allegations against the licensee. While we've always understood, based on our history of practice and policy, that that's what that meant, I thought it would be appropriate to change it to clarify, because when you're talking about specific charges, that is usually used in reference to a different document, not a verified complaint by a licensee. So we're just making it consistent with what our policy and practice has been all of these years, to change it to that the complaint has to include the complainant's allegations against the licensee. So that's the first section. The second section is also just a means of clarifying that a board-authorized investigation is also considered a complaint. It is not the only thing that is different about the way a board-authorized complaint is handled and a verified complaint is handled is that one's initiated by the board and one is initiated by a member of the public. But to clear up any misconceptions that somehow the board-initiated complaints or the authorized complaints are somehow treated differently, we thought we would make that clear as well. And that's basically what subsection 3 says as well. Subsection 4 is being, we're seeking to amend that just to make it clear to any members of the public that this 15 days there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that often make it impossible for the doctor to respond within the 15 days. While that is our technical deadline, the board or its agents will be granted the discretion to give extensions of that time. A lot of times the dentists don't receive them. For whatever reason, we have an incorrect address. Whatever the reason is, we have we're granting the board the authority or the discretion to extend that 15-day period for response. 5 and 6 are to attempt to clarify the confidential nature of these complaints, and that our verification page will include an agreement by the complainant to maintain the confidentiality of the investigation, and the documents that we historically have always treated as confidential. Number 6 is just bringing that home, that if you or what you have in front of you says failure of the complainant to comply, I would suggest that we add failure of the complainant or his or her agent or representative of the complainant, that the failure to comply with this verification that is now seeking to keep everything confidential will result in the dismissal of their complaint. If the complainant takes it upon themselves to publicly disseminate this confidential information. So those are the changes for NAC 631240 that we are suggesting.
Do we have a motion or any, before we have discussion?
This is Spencer. I make a motion that we accept proposed changes regarding NAC 631.240.
Thank you, Tim. Do we have a second?
Johnson,
Second, Pisani.
All right. Thank you. Is there any discussion regarding the proposed changes to NAC 631.240?
Is this, Sanders, is this assuming the addition of the comment you made on section 6 about their agent as well as the complainant themselves?
Yes.
This motion includes that addition?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
On item number 3, you guys have by A typed twice at the end of the sentence.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
So we'll correct that typo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good catch. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of approving NAC 631.240 with the additions, changes provided, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. And we're moving on to proposed changes regarding NAC 631.250.
Okay, so subsection 1 of this section is simply to add if the board conducts an investigation upon a verified complaint or authorized investigative complaint rather than just complaint, and that way this clarifies what we've attempted to clarify in the previous section. Subsection 2 is unchanged. Subsection 3 these changes are made to again clarify the confidential nature and to clarify what may be some confusion as to what specifically is confidential and is not, and this makes clear that the investigation, that with the exception of the formal charging document, which is the complaint that is filed prior to it being presented for a full board hearing after it's gone through the entire investigation, with that exception, or if there's a stipulated agreement, that would be presented to the board for approval. With those two exceptions, that any information relating to the investigation is to remain confidential and not be presented to the board prior to their formal board hearing. So, so that's what subsection 3 is seeking to clarify. Subsection 4 is again the same as the previous sections, to change the failure of a complainant, and again, I would add, or an agent or representative of the complainant to adhere to the requirements of this section, shall result in a dismissal of their complaint. And then subsection 5, we are seeking to add that to state that any action by a licensee or an agent or representative of the licensee resulting in the dissemination or public discussion of any complaint or investigation pertaining to that licensee essentially waives the confidentiality as to their own complaint and their own investigation, so that if they would like to make their, if they would like to air their stuff in public, then that is their decision, and they are waiving the confidentiality that they've been afforded by the board and by the regulations of the board. So that is NAC 631250.
Any questions? Any motions?
Johnson, motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Chair.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the recommended changes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Proposed changes regarding NAC 631.240.
That was 250.
Oh, 25, that was 25. Okay, hang on a second. Going back to the other one.
So we're done with that.
We're done. We're done. So is it now the proposed regulation changes of the board?
Oh, it's the public hearing. You're on number 4.
Okay, public hearing. Notice of intent to act upon R143-17. The purpose of this hearing is to receive comments from all interested persons regarding the adoption of the following proposed regulations that pertain to Chapter 631 of the Nevada Administrative Code. The revisions are regarding the following: provisions of certain information and documentation by applicants for licensure, examination for certain licensees under NAC 631.030, rejection of applications, considerations and review under NAC 631.050, examination for license to practice dentistry under NAC 631.090, re-examinations, completion of failed clinical demonstration under NAC 631.140, licensee to notify board of certain events under NAC 631.155, and placement of license on inactive status, on inactive or retired or disabled status, or reinstatement under NAC 631.170.
Okay, so as you remember, we held a public workshop to amend these regulations, and it's pertaining to SB 69, which is now licensed by endorsement. So if you turn to NAC 631.030, after review by the Legislative Council Bureau, they've returned these with the changes, which spells out, so some of the language was modified to, or amended to include the language that's consistent with AB 69. SB 69. So, for instance, when you're talking about, before it said whether any malpractice judgment has been filed or entered into against a licensee. Now it says whether he or she has been held civilly or criminally liable. So we just changed the verbiage to be consistent with SB 69, or SB 69. So, and these are the other changes that you wanted as far as the requirements. So this NAC 631.030 are the documents and information an applicant submits to the board for any type of license. But then we added the addition specific to under section 2. It says an applicant for licensure by endorsement pursuant to subsection 3 of Senate Bill 69 provides the following, and that's a certificate granted by a nationally recognized, nationally accredited, or nationally certified exam, and proof that the applicant has actively practiced dentistry or dental hygiene for the 5 years immediately preceding the date of the submission of the application. So someone with licensure by endorsement has to meet all the other requirements as any applicant would have to, but in addition, they have to have taken a nationally recognized clinical exam, and they have to be practicing, actively practicing, which means they have to be licensed for the 5 years preceding the application. So that's this language. And this is the language that you adopted before sending it to LCB. So if you are comfortable with that language, then you can make a motion to accept.
Is there any further discussion? Any questions? Since we've already kind of reviewed this in the past, and this is just the written form, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Panther.
Second, Sanders.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Is there all in favor of adopting the changes as outlined? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So under NAC 631.050, this is the regulation when you're going to reject an application. So what we did is we eliminated, because prior you had to have your application in 45 days required for the exam. Since we don't conduct our own exam, we eliminated that language. So that language has been removed, and the only other language that's been added is consistent with 030 is, been held civilly or criminally liable. So this language mirrors the language that's in 631.030 that you just approved.
Motion to approve Pisani. Second, Panther.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the proposed changes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
So under NAC 631.090, this was the request, and you, at the public workshop, to add the clinical examination administered by the Western Regional Examining Board. Up until that point, the board had the input into the ADEX exam of what the components for the exam would be. But the way that the regulation was written, it was only for ADEX. We didn't have input on what components or clinical procedures for the clinical exam for RED. We are now adding that so that we have, so it's consistent. We have say, and that the exam that they're both the same, that the components would be the same. So that's what the change is in 631.090.
Motion to approve Panther.
Second, Johnson.
Second, Pisani.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of adoption, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
NAC 631.040, same thing. It's just adding the Western Regional Examining Board, so it's consistent with NAC 631.090. In addition, it also adds the same thing, being held criminally liable, so all of the language throughout the regulations are consistent.
Excuse me, Deb, I think that was 631.1.
Oh, that's 155, you're correct.
140.
140 stops with the, right, I skipped to 155 on the next page, right. So 140 is just adding Western Regional to the language. I got it.
Motion to approve Pisani. Second, Panther.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion to this change? All in favor of adoption of change, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next section.
NAC 631.155, this is the reporting requirements for a licensee to report certain things to the board within 30 days of an occurrence or event at their office. And this changes number 5 to be consistent with 631050 and 030, where it says being held civilly or criminally liable. So that language is consistent.
Move to accept, Sanders.
We have a motion
Second, Pisani.
and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So here it says, so is this just confined within the United States? So if somebody goes to, I don't know, Germany and has an issue, they're not required to report it?
No. No. I think they feel like maybe we don't have jurisdiction outside the United States.
Oh, that's a good point.
Now, if they're in the military and they're in Germany and they're licensed with us, I think that they would still be required, but it doesn't state that. I can tell you, I've been here almost 16 years and it's never happened. Or I don't know about it.
Because they weren't.
Because they weren't required to report it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, do we have a motion? We have a motion. Is all in favor of adopting the change as stated? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Section 631.170.
Right, this regulation is regarding if you're placing your license on inactive or retired status. It's just changing, it's adding the language that they have to report whether they've been held civilly liable. So in case they're inactive here, they want to reactivate their license, and they're practicing in another state, they're still required to report to us.
Any questions regarding that change? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept this change to NAC 631.170?
So moved, Pisani.
Second, Gabriel.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I will send these off to LCB, and from there they go to the Legislative Commission. Once they go through the Legislative Commission, then they're forwarded, I believe, onto the Secretary of State. Once we receive them back, that's when they're enacted.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to agenda item number 5, Executive Director's Report. Item number A, the minutes for possible action, the meeting minutes of January 19, 2018. If everyone's had sufficient time to review these minutes, does anybody want to have any discussion regarding the content of the minutes?
Move to accept, Sanders.
We have a motion to accept,
Second.
and we have a second. All in favor of accepting the minutes of meeting dated January 19th, 2018, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Financials. Agenda item 5B. And we welcome Ms. Hummel to the table to answer our questions.
Good morning. Does anybody have any questions to start with? No? Okay. There's just a general review of where we're at on our budget. A couple items that I just want to make mention of is that when we budgeted for revenues for the licenses, I did increase that this year by 2% in budgeting, and that hasn't happened. So we're kind of flat in our revenues, so we're going to see that probably come through for the rest of the year. The other side of that is that staff is continuously working diligently to reduce other expenses in other areas.
And so the bottom line is that we are still pretty close to our budget numbers. A couple of things that I do want to point out in our expenses is the licensing software with Imamon. We have not had to start paying them yet because they haven't completed their project. So we're going to be well under budget. We have no cost in that right now. So we're probably, we may not for another couple months until they finish that project up. And there are a couple small items. Our merchant fees, we're well under budget. We are going into a new licensing with the hygienist, and so that's probably going to come back up to where we budgeted. The DSO review panel expenses, I'm showing 0 through January, but those meetings started in February. And so we'll start seeing some of those numbers come through. So things are going to balance out a little bit more in our budget versus actual before we get to the end of the year. And I think we'll see some of those differences coming in February and March. And that's all I have.
Does anybody have any questions regarding the financials?
Mr. President, this is Pisani. It's not a question. I think that maybe on behalf of myself and the board, we would thank Ms. Hummel for doing such an outstanding job. I know budgeting is not easy, but it seems like you're right on the spot on everything, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well stated, Dr. Pisani. Thank you for that. Do we need to accept, or that was just, okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Hummel. I appreciate that. Now moving on to agenda item 5C, authorized investigative complaints.
Yes, I'm requesting the board authorize an investigative complaint against Dr. Y for possible violations of NRS 631.3475 subsection 5 and NAC 631.230 subsection 1B. NRS 631.3475, the following acts among others constitutes unprofessional conduct. Number 5 is administering, dispensing, or prescribing any controlled substances or any dangerous drugs defined that is not required to treat the dentist patient. And then NAC 631.230 subsection 1B is regarding, well, it's unprofessional conduct. Hold on 1 second. And 1B is writing prescriptions for controlled substances in such excessive amounts as to constitute a departure from the prevailing standards of acceptable dental practice. So I'm requesting that the board authorize an investigation against Dr. Y regarding these possible violations.
Any questions? All in favor? Is there a motion to accept?
Motion to accept, Pinther.
Second, Chair.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of authorizing the investigation against Dr. Y, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 5C2.
I'm requesting the board authorize an investigation against Dr. Z for the possible violation of NRS 631.230 subsection 1B, which is eligibility of an applicant for license to practice dentistry. 1B is a citizen of the United States or is lawfully entitled to remain and work in the United States. So I'm requesting the board authorize a investigation against Dr. Z for the possible violation of this statute.
So moved, Pisani.
Second, Gabriel.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of authorizing the investigation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 6, General Counsel's report.
At this time, I do not have any currently filed district court cases to update you on. As far as the disciplinary action issues, there are no current steps up for your consideration either.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Agenda item number 7, new business. Approval of disciplinary screening officer under NRS 631.190. Item A1, Dr. Don McClellan.
Yes, Dr. McClellan was a previous DSO. She expressed interest to continue. She is a pedodontist, so I'm recommending on behalf of Dr. Third and myself, Dr. McClellan as a disciplinary screening officer.
So moved, Pinther. Second, Gabriel.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion regarding this appointment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, moving on to, under new business, we are on agenda item D. Review, discussion, approval, rejection of public health dental hygiene program under NAC 631.210 subsection 5, Southern Nevada Health District, through the Division of Public and Behavioral Health Oral Health Program.
Correct. Dr. Kapoor is here, and she's the state dental health officer, and this is her request to approve this program to allow dental hygienists who hold special health endorsements to provide services through that program. And you're welcome to come up, Dr. Kapoor, and answer any questions.
And Ms. Wood is here as well, who is the...
Correct. Yes, so, but you already hold the public health, correct? Yes, so Ms. Wood is the dental hygienist who would be adding this to her program. She already holds a public health, and then if this program gets approved, she would be the dental hygienist offering the services through this program currently.
Okay.
So you can both.
And it's Woods with an S, just for...
Oh, okay, good.
More than one wood.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, it happens all the time. Better than my maiden name, those people can say it.
I hear you. I hear that.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm here to support the Southern Nevada Health District's application. They are moving forward to include dental preventative services in the medical services they currently offer. This would be the first health district in Nevada to include dental services. They have been given a small grant by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health to provide preventative dental services along with well checks and vaccinations to rural citizens in Esmeralda, Nye, White Pine, and Lincoln counties. And they'll be using their mobile clinic for those trips beginning in April. And they've hired Ms. Woods, excuse me, to be the public health dental hygienist that would be accompanying the nurse and the medical assistant on those trips. And I have a copy of the contracts between the division and the Southern Nevada Health District and the scopes of work as well, if you'd like to see those.
Do we have them submitted to the board?
It's already in the board.
Oh, it's already here.
Yep.
Okay.
It's towards the back.
Okay.
There it is. So there's the scope of work that the dental special public health dental hygienist would be. That's the scope of work, and then the program outline that Dr. Kapoor and the contract and so forth. That's behind the document.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So we have a copy of that.
Sanders, a question for you, please. How does this differentiate from just licensing the individual hygienist as public health hygienists? Why do you need the health department particularly? I mean, I'm reading this, I'm thinking everything you said you could do, you already can do with a licensed public health hygienist. So I'm trying to figure out what the need is.
I think that's what we want to do.
Right. It's the program that you have to make sure that the program stays within because a public health dental hygienist can do anything from 1A to N without the authorization and the supervision of a dentist. Right. So you're making sure that, first off, you have to make sure that, and it's supposed to be to help the rural or the underserved areas. So the first thing you want to look at is, does the program meet those needs? And then does the scope of work that's defined stay within the parameters of a public health dental hygienist? And then if you say yes to that, then you would approve the program.
I guess I'm not sure what our approval means.
He thinks Dr. Sanders believes that this is already approved.
Hire 5 public health hygienists and do the same thing.
No, because a public health dental hygienist can only work in a facility that has the program's been approved by the board.
So
Okay.
every program that a public health dental hygienist wants to participate in requires, the program has to be approved by the board.
Okay.
So that's why this program would need board approval before any public health dental hygienist can go out and do public health dental hygiene.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That helps.
Okay.
Does anybody else?
Exactly what we're trying to do.
Somebody did call and ask about what teledental pictures was.
We have the mouthwatch system. So it's a system that uses teledentistry so that pictures can be taken. We do have dentists that we're going to be working with to refer urgent cases to, since we're not providing, obviously, more expansive dental services. So those patients will be able to be referred to a dentist. So we'll do some case management and some assessment in the field, and then be able to transfer that to the referring dentist.
Any other questions?
I have a question, just, tell me about the grant, and what the purpose and the term for the grant is.
So it's a grant in the sense that it's monies that have been given to the Southern Nevada Health District for this particular project. It's not a grant that was, I guess, open to all applicants. It was something that the Southern Nevada Health District approached the state specifically for. And so the monies that are coming to the health district will be providing monies for the bus driver and the hygienist and kind of the mechanics of the trip. And then the boards of county commissioners in each of those counties have supported the trip and will be providing in-kind services to make the trip successful. Did that answer your question? Do you want more information?
Any other questions for these young ladies? Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve the program as presented. Sanders?
Second, Johnson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of granting the request, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
Agenda item 7E, approval of voluntary surrender of license. Item 1, Corbin Partridge, PMD.
Yes, Dr. Partridge has requested that he voluntarily surrender his license in the state of Nevada. He's filled out the appropriate documents. He has no pending matters. So I request that the board accept his voluntary surrender of license.
Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion approved, Johnson.
Second, Sanders.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of accepting the voluntary surrender of license by Dr. Corbin Partridge, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item F, approval for anesthesia permit, permanent permit. Item 1, general anesthesia, Dr. Kevin Croft.
As Johnson, I've reviewed and recommend approval for said licensure for Dr. Croft.
So moved, Pisani.
Second, Panther.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval for the anesthesia permit for general anesthesia for Dr. Croft, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
We have one abstention from Dr. Johnson. Motion passes. Item number 2, conscious sedation, approval for anesthesia permit, conscious sedation. Do you want to take them separately or together? Okay, for Dr. Dr. Chandler Heyer and Dr. Deep Karen Dillon.
Johnson, I reviewed both of these. Recommend approval for said permits.
A motion to approve for conscious sedation for Dr. Heyer and Dr. Dillon. This is Panther.
Second, Sanders.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this matter? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Abstain.
And we have one abstention from Dr. Johnson. Motion passes. Agenda item G, approval for anesthesia temporary permit for conscious sedation for Dr. Brian Jones.
Reviewed and recommend approval for anesthesia temporary permit for Dr. Jones for conscious sedation.
So moved, Sanders.
Second, Panther.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding Dr. Jones? Hearing none, all in favor of approval for anesthesia temporary permit for conscious sedation for Dr. Jones, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Dr. Johnson abstains, motion passes. Agenda item H, appointment of anesthesia evaluator inspector. Item 1, Dr. Tony Guillen for conscious sedation as an evaluator inspector.
Reviewed his application and recommend his approval for evaluator inspector for conscious sedation.
Motion to approve, Panther.
Second, Pisani.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of appointing Dr. Guillen, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Dr. Johnson has abstained, motion passes. Going to reports, agenda item 8, resource groups, A, legislative and dental practice. Dr. Pinther.
Yeah, hi. I do not have a report, thank you.
Thank you. Item 8B, legal and disciplinary action. Dr. Pisani.
I don't have a report.
Thank you. C, examinations. Reb and Herb is myself, and there is nothing to report this time. Section 8C2, ADEX rep, Dr. Pinther.
Again, I don't have any report.
Thank you.
Did you hear me? Sorry, I had my mic off.
I gotcha.
Did you get that?
Yeah, we gotcha. Thank you. Continuing education, Dr. Blasco, no, nothing to report this time. E, Ms. Gabriel.
No report.
Thank you. Specialty, item F, Dr. Pisani.
Nothing special from me.
You're special all the time. Thank you. Dr. Johnson, anesthesia.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. H, infection control, Ms. Gabriel.
No report.
Thank you. I, budget and finance, Dr. Champagne.
No report.
Thank you. We're on agenda item number 9, public comment. Is there any public comment in the north?
No.
In the south?
Terry Chen of Future Smiles. I wish Dr. Kapura had stayed. I'd like to acknowledge her leadership as our dental health officer. By working with the Southern Nevada Health District, she's integrating oral health into their delivery system, which is, it's huge. It's used to go into those rural communities, so I really have a lot of respect for her. You guys don't know Jessica Woods, but I do. And Jess is an amazing young lady, very, very talented. She's getting her master's degree in public health at AT Still. She will bring a lot to this program, so thank you for the approval of it.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, do we have any announcements?
The only thing is, I'll be sending out the postcards for the dental hygienist. The renewal portal will be open Wednesday, April 4th, so the postcards going out the beginning of this week, the following week, April 4th. Obviously, you can always renew on paper. I would suggest online, it's a lot easier. Just be aware, and it'll say in the guide, because this is a new licensing system, so the dental hygienists have not renewed in the new system. There is a guide that will guide you at every step, because you're going to have to register, because this is a new, totally new system. Also, the pocket cards that we used to mail will automatically be emailed to you right after you renew. So, that, and then we're working on the newsletter. We hope to have that out probably within the next 30 days. This one will be a little bit larger newsletter. Obviously, we want to talk specifically about AB 474. I think we've been receiving a lot of phone calls. I've been receiving a lot of letters from the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy Prescription Monitoring Program. They are monitoring licensees who are issuing controlled substances, and so I'm receiving a lot of documentation from them of people who are licensees that may not be complying with AB 474. So, but that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Johnson.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Sanders.
We have a second. Any discussion? Thank you, everyone, for your time. Appreciate it. Meeting adjourned.
Bye, guys.